All right, welcome back to another College Football Weekly podcast. This is going to be mostly NFL just because the Super Bowl just went on and we're trying a little something a little different. So first let's go over the Super Bowl because that just happened. I'm recording this day after Sunday. That's kind of fresh in my mind right now. And first off, just what a great game, what a great game those two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Near perfect game for both of those guys. And Patrick Mahomes really proved in this one that he is, definitely the best quarterback in the game right now. He is. Played through the injury, got key runs, key rushes. He played amazing. The completion percentage was really good. Looking at let's look to it. Passing. Mahomes was 21 for 27. 21 for 27, 3 touchdowns. 182 yards. And then, on the rushing side for Mahomes, he averaged 7.3 yards a carry. That's 6 for 44 yards. On the rushing end of things for Jalen Hurts, he definitely shined. He had 3 rushing touchdowns and, hats off to that Eagles offensive line that was able to get the QB sneaks. I don't know how many times they did a QB sneak for the Eagles did. But they did it a lot, and it worked just about every time. Jalen Hurts ended up with 3 rushing touchdowns and also a passing touchdown for over 300 yards passing. Halftime, it was 24 to 14. And this is honestly kind of similar to the last Super Bowl that the Chiefs were in when they were down by 10, and they were able to come back behind Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and this great offense. And, another thing that Mahomes proved that, he could do it without Tyreek Hill. They take away his number one target in Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce is there. They add some guys like Smith-Schuster, and they're right back to the Super Bowl. And a great comeback. And that's not to say that the Eagles didn't really do anything. They scored... they scored 11 in the second half. They kind of stayed put a little bit there, and they had it tied in the second half as well. And really, by the very end, they had it tied until that last field goal for the Chiefs. But again, just a tremendous fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes shows up. He gets another key run when it matters. And again, the Chiefs get another key penalty again this time to set up the field goal. We'll go over that penalty call later. Let's go into Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, because behind their greatness, Chiefs are able to win another Super Bowl. They're able to come back in another Super Bowl from being down 10 at half. That duo, as long as that duo is together, Chiefs got a great chance to win every single year. Look, Patrick Mahomes, he's been a starter for 5 years and been to the AFC Championship every single year. He is top 5. You got to say he's top 5 already. He's top 5 already. Won another MVP this season. Super Bowl MVP again. He's got to be top 5 already. Up there with, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, whoever you want to put. He's right. He's, as long as he can keep it up, because the guys like Montana and Brady were able to keep it up with the Super Bowls, which I have no reason to think that he can't. Especially the way the Chiefs really proved themselves in this season in this game. Another thing I want to shout out before I forget is the Chiefs' defense in that second half held up. In the first half, they were getting whooped. But they were able to get enough stops to give Patrick Mahomes the ball and really let him work. Yeah, for Patrick Mahomes' legacy, he's got to already, I've seen things going around. Is he already first ballot Hall of Famer? Yeah, I'd say so. He's the greatest quarterback of his generation right now. Last year we were saying, okay, maybe Burrow is catching up. You got Josh Allen, he's catching up. If Patrick Mahomes wasn't able to win this year, then maybe like Trevor Lawrence is coming into the conversation. This was a huge key year for Patrick Mahomes to be like, no, I am still the best. I am still the best right now. Able to beat Joe Burrow was huge in that AFC Championship game. And for him, I can see him winning another 2-3 Super Bowls in the next, in the foreseeable years to come. I mean, look, the AFC is very tough, but there is no reason to believe that they can't do it again. They've been to what, five straight AFC Championship games, something like that. They've been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. Let's say that ratio keeps on going. They just keep making it to the AFC Championship game. Made the Super Bowl 3 out of 5 years. Does it again for 10 more years, which is totally possible. How old is Patrick Mahomes? Let's look that up real quick. He's 27. So yeah, he can do it for another 5 years. Easy. He continues another 5 years. They get to the Super Bowl 3 times. Say they lose one, maybe lose to the Eagles another one, because the Eagles are going to be back. They will. Wins another 2. Yeah, you get another couple there. You got 4 Super Bowls just like Joe Montana, and you're right into that like GOAT conversation. People were, having, conversations. I remember like kind of like First Take and shows like that were like, can Patrick Mahomes, be the GOAT? And then he played Brady and lost, and you're like, But I don't think it was really Patrick Mahomes' fault. That offensive line was just really bad that year. Lots of injuries, and then the Bucs defense was like pretty much all time right there. But then, Patrick Mahomes was able to turn around this Super Bowl, and there was a stat up that like the Eagles was the best defense since like the 84, 85 Bears. And he put up 38 on them? 38 on the third best defense in NFL history. That's got to count for something. It's still possible if Patrick Mahomes plays till he's like 45 like Tom Brady has, it's totally possible that Mahomes wins 7 or more Super Bowls, because I think he's younger than when like Brady won his first 2, I'm pretty sure. So he's already, kind of got a step ahead Brady. So, and just with the success that we've seen him have, like, my goodness. But definitely for Patrick Mahomes, I see him winning at least another 2, 3 in the next, like, 5, 6 years. It's really tough to win a Super Bowl. This isn't like, I feel like the NBA, if you have, like, a lot of big-time good superstars, then your likelihood to win the championship is high, barring injury. Look at the Warriors. When they put KD together with the Warriors, it was just like, okay, forget the season. Whatever. We know they're going to win. But with the NFL, there's a lot more to it. 2 sides of the ball, everything. We know that. I don't see, the Chiefs could repeat, but that's very difficult. Like, when is the last time we have seen a team repeat? Was it back way with Tom Brady and when they won 3 out of 4 and they went back to back a couple of years? I think that's got to be the last time. I'm trying to think back here. For the Eagles, I think they will continue to be great. I see a big battle between Eagles and 49ers. You can maybe sneak the Vikings in there, but I don't know if Kirk Cousins is really, gonna do all that for the Vikings. Like, I think the difference between the Vikings and the 49ers is, the Vikings do have a lot of talent around Kirk Cousins, who's a above average quarterback, but, that 49ers defense is like, it's there. It's good. It really helps them out. But again, they couldn't do everything, for them. By the time they had like Christian McCaffrey out there throwing passes, 4th string quarterbacks getting injured. I think if the 49ers can have just a bit less, get a bit less unlucky, I guess you could say a bit luckier, they can definitely contend with the Eagles and make it to the Super Bowl again. As for the 49ers, I think you could see Brock Purdy, especially now considering Brady is, not going to any other team. There's questions of, okay, maybe Rodgers will make his way out, but, I don't know if Rodgers would really want to go to the Niners. It would be, kind of back for his hometown, but, the 49ers already have, like, 3 quarterbacks that are kind of going to be battling for that starting position. I think at the end of the day, the starting position has got to go to Brock Purdy because of all the success. I mean, you can't forget Jimmy Garoppolo. He was doing good, but Brock Purdy, you can see him in him. Like, he is a very good quarterback, and could be a future like Pro Bowler. One more thing for the Eagles, I think you could definitely see the Eagles winning. Jalen Hurts is only 24. I think I can definitely say that the Eagles are gonna win a Super Bowl with Hurts in an Eagles jersey before it's all over. Whether that be next year or the year after, I think it's gonna happen. Just because that team is so talented with Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, the great running game that they've got. I think they've got it. With that offensive line, some of them are getting a little older. You got to take advantage with that offensive line. But Hurts is young and he played great. So I think you can definitely see Hurts and the Eagles getting a Super Bowl soon. So yeah, let's move on to some other sports related stuff, which the NBA trade deadline happened, and we just got some bombshells. Woj bomb or Sean's bomb, whichever one broke it first, I don't know. But the biggest one, the KD trade. If there's no injuries with the Suns, they're going to win the championship. Let's make that clear. That starting lineup is crazy. You got Chris Paul, you got Devin Booker, you got, don't forget about DeAndre Ayton at center, and then you have, KD. Just slide KD in there. I feel like it's another Golden State situation where the Suns just have it. They have their system. Hey, KD, slide right in. Just be a scorer. You're good. Perfect situation for Durant. And it was kind of funny because Kyrie was the original one that requested this trade. Kyrie was the one that was kind of making all the drama. And he ends up with the Mavs. KD ends up with the Suns. I think the Suns is the better situation. I mean, don't get me wrong, Luka Doncic is special, but it will be interesting to see how Kyrie and Luka really gel. I could see him making a conference finals, but I don't know. That West is tough. You can't count out the Nuggets. Don't count out the Nuggets, and the Suns are obviously there. And the Lakers, my Lakers, they went out and did really the best trade. I feel like they could have done. Yeah, they could have gotten Kyrie, but with this trade, they get D'Angelo Russell, they get Malik Beasley, they get Jared Vanderbilt. They just got depth. They got great, solid role players that they really didn't have. Played Golden State. What was it? I think it was on Saturday. Played great without LeBron. Golden State didn't have Steph, but Lakers didn't have LeBron, so I call that even. AD, he kind of struggled from the field, but he made up for it on defense, and the new additions, especially also Rui Hachimura showed up really big for them. So I think the Lakers, get the Lakers in the bubble, okay? As long as they make the bubble, they have a shot. I feel like any, top 12 teams all feel like they kind of have a shot to go to the finals. That's how great the West is right now. Oklahoma and Texas, they move from going to the SEC in 2025 to going to the SEC in 2024. Honestly, it's kind of an L to me. I've grown up with kind of these conferences and kind of these teams in their conferences. It's built up great rivalries. Are we going to lose the Oklahoma State rivalry? That's a big time rivalry. Like Baylor and Oklahoma. That too. I'm sure there'll be some great rivalries built up in the SEC. But it's just kind of SEC, one big super conference. And, people can also say, okay, also the Big Ten is a super conference. But when you really look at it, Ohio State was the last team to win a national championship for the Big Ten. That was 2014. So when people are talking about, the Big Ten, they got some pretty good teams. They're pretty, overall beefy in talent. But when you're talking about national championships, I don't care if they make the playoff. Michigan, you got teams like Michigan, Oklahoma, Notre Dame. These teams have made the playoff and they've done nothing when they've gotten there. Done nothing. Especially Oklahoma and Notre Dame. They never even made it to the national championship game. And they went there Oklahoma went there 4 or 5 times. They never made it past. Just because the level that the SEC is at. It's just one big super conference. Especially you add Oklahoma, who have made the playoff, 5 times or whatever. I think when you look at it like, okay, these teams are going to these big super conferences. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of money. But that's going to make it a hell of a lot more difficult to actually get to the playoff now. If you have this new system, which they're implementing the 12-team playoff. You get a conference champ in each one. Why not stay in the Big 12 where you're basically guaranteed to get a championship? As long as you're half decent in the Big 12. Like, yeah, this year Oklahoma stunk, but that was just because they're adjusting, right? With Brent Venables. They're going to have to really start adjusting real quick because they're moving to the SEC. But like with the Pac-12 as well. With the ACC especially, I don't know if any teams are really leaving the ACC, but if you're Clemson and you're sitting thinking, oh, maybe I should go to the SEC, I don't know if there's not really a guarantee that you're going to win your conference and get into the playoff every single year. Like with Oklahoma, I feel like they hurt their chances of getting to the playoff and getting a national championship, which I think that is really the ultimate goal. It should be. So this whole thing with Jaden Rashada, I was going to make a whole video about the NIL, but really here's the thing. Jaden Rashada, he had an NIL deal, and then it kind of fell apart for Miami, and now he's, I don't know where he's exactly headed. Arizona State. It was Arizona State. But he had an NIL deal with Miami. It kind of fell apart. I don't know the full details. But to me, this whole thing just seems like the NCAA has no control over it. Yes, it is great to get college players, money for playing out there. For, risking, like, injury and all this. We know all this. They get to, video games for college football get to be made. Which is just added bonus. But it doesn't really feel like the NCAA has any control over this. With a normal job like football or basketball in the NFL and the NBA, you have a salary, and it's all laid out there and just made known. It seems like when these NILs, it's kind of just like backwater, like backdoor kind of money just thrown around. There doesn't seem to be a lot of regulations on it, which I know people are kind of like mad at NCAA regulations, but there's got to like kind of overall, but there seems to have to be some kind of regulation on, what's going on, like what happened to all that money that Miami was going to give Jaden Rashada. Finally, let's go over Georgia. They won another championship in dominant fashion. I didn't really go over this much. I don't think I've really gone over this much in a podcast with beating TCU. Just the beat that they gave the Horned Frogs. My goodness! Like again with the SEC versus the other conferences, there was no competition whatsoever there. Part of the problem is just like that. It's just kind of these SEC schools are just kind of breeding grounds to go up to the NFL. Definitely the difference between something like college basketball and college football is that it's kind of actually not the same. It's kind of like opposite than the NBA and the NFL, with that like the talent is really showcased with college football. Talent on college basketball, yeah, you can have a lot of talented freshmen, sure. They want to just go there and then go to the NBA. But that doesn't mean you're going to win a national championship. No. Usually the teams with experienced seniors that are still talented have maybe one or two talented freshmen. They have a great system. Those are the teams that end up on top. And you have like 68 teams that make it to the March Madness. Anything can happen. Whereas with college football, you get your select 4 blue blood schools, maybe throwing a TCU there, hey, a little Cinderella story, and then get stomped by Georgia, who's just got all these 5-star seniors. It's just not fair. Is there do I have a proposal to change it somehow? I mean, you can restrict, how many 5 stars a school gets, but to me that doesn't really matter because these programs have these great coaches, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban. You can throw in Dabo Swinney there, I guess. They really build up their talent and they take advantage. They take full advantage of the talent they get. And it's not their fault that they're so good at recruiting. And these players want to go to these programs just so that they can go to the NFL or just get a part of, a great program and win a national championship, because it's so hard to win a national championship unless you're on Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State, or Clemson or whatever. Basically, throw in LSU maybe, even like as I just mentioned, like Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Yeah, we'll get to the playoff, but there's no way you're getting out of the semifinals. As for Georgia, I think they'll definitely continue their dominance as Nick Saban gets older. And as this NIL, he has to be able to adjust to this NIL where it's more player driven. Like, it's definitely becoming a lot more, I'd say, kind of like college basketball, kind of like NBA, where NBA is like the extreme player driven, as we've seen with all the trade requests. But when you look at like how Nick Saban needs to adjust, because usually it's Nick Saban, hey, you're coming into my program, you're going to do it my way, all this, you are playing for me, Now it's like, hey, I'm talented. I'm going to get paid. I'm here to go to the NFL. That kind of stuff with the, kind of player mentality. So I think Nick Saban is going to have to adjust to that, or Kirby Smart is going to be beating him. Kirby Smart's just going to continue to beat him. So Nick Saban's going to have to adjust. Let's see. And I don't want to totally overreact, because every year Alabama disappoints. This year they didn't get to the playoff, which was a big disappointment. Like 2-loss season. Like, okay, yeah, that's kind of a disappointment. We totally overreact every time they don't win a championship. We overreact. We'll see what they do next year. We'll see what they come with next year. If it continues a little decline, if again Alabama doesn't make the playoff, then we're gonna have to have a tougher conversation. I think this was gonna be one of my longest podcasts for sure. But if you listen this far, thank you for listening. We'll see how it all goes. Yeah, very exciting week of sports. Football's kind of winding down, but definitely keep doing more podcasts with these where I cover more of a very wide array of topics. Keep you guys updated on the recruiting. Make sure to go watch my Colorado video. Hats off to all you guys that watched that Colorado video. I think that was my best, kind of normal, non-short video. Got a lot of views. So yeah, thank you all for watching, listening. Make sure to subscribe and follow on Spotify, wherever you listen. And yeah, peace.